Hi, I'm Paul Barrington. I work at the Greater Manchester Local Record Centre and I'm the lead developer of the Carbon Landscape Citizen Science Portal. Today I figured we'd come out to Hollingwood Branch Canal in Tameside, local nature reserve where I grew up, and I'd give you an overview of how to use the MapApp and the Carbon Landscape Portal. So the kids are in bed. I've got Joe's tablet. Hi Joe. And we'll take you through it. Better than sitting in my front room. So to get the MapApp up, go onto the gmwildlife.org.uk website, and in the navigation header you've just got MapApp. Right, so what I'm going to do just to make this a little bit easier to see, it is getting dark. Down in this bottom right hand corner, the map controls, I'm just going to change the base layer so it's Google Terrain. So what we're looking at there are the Ordnance Survey grid lines. The thick lines are the major lines, so in this case they represent 10 kilometre squares, and then the smaller lines are 1k squares in this case. But as you zoom in or zoom out, those lines redraw as appropriate. So the first thing we'll do is go through the navigation tools. So the navigation tools are used to put a pin on the map at a particular location, and it recenters the map whilst it does it. The things that you can do is you can relocate by location using Google Places search, which I'll demonstrate now. So in the, just can't see that there we go. In the top right corner here, top left corner actually. So I'm going to enter your location, so OL6 7PT. Select the match, and hopefully you'll see there it's popped a pin on the map. Once there's a pin on the map, I can either drag to relocate it, or I can click on it and it will give me the marker's current geographical sort of location information. So there I've got the 10 metre grid reference, the 100 metre, 1 kilometre, 2 kilometre, and then I've got the eastings and northings and the latitude and longitude. So all the information I would need to know there. I've got the option there to close the info window or delete the marker, so I'll just delete that marker. Okay, the box underneath is where I can create a pin using coordinate information or location information. So it'll accept a Ordnance Survey grid reference, Ordnance Survey tetrad, so it's your 2k reference. It'll also accept eastings and northings, providing you separate them with a comma, or latitude and longitude. So whatever system you like working in, apart from minutes and seconds, because nobody uses that, it's SJ 9398, enter, pops a pin on the map. And then the last option I've got is this little geolocate button, which is there. So pressing that will recenter the map to the location of your device, providing that you've put high accuracy, providing that you've enabled that in settings. So otherwise it'll just pick wherever's fairly local to you and you'll have to recenter the map. Right, so the navigation tool is one way of putting pins on the map. The other way of putting pins on the map is just to actually do double clicks. So each time I do a double click, it'll put a new pin on that map. And then I can click and drag to relocate that. This is actually, it makes a bit more sense if you've got the satellite base layer on, but as you can see it doesn't look great out here, so do have a play. Along the top of the line there, it's displaying the marker numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the distance. So this at the moment is set in total distance mode, so it's telling me that I've drawn there a 2.5 kilometre line, and we'll come back to that later on. So I can use this to draw a line. If I need to delete a point, I can just click on the point and hit the delete button and I can remove that. If I need to put a new point in mid-line, I can just click on the, just click on the line segment where I want the pin to appear. It's a bit trickier on tablets, it's easier on a PC because as you hover your mouse over it you get a little ghost to confirm that it's going to put a new pin in there for you. So yeah, have fun with that. That is the kind of navigation tools and create pin tools, so you can use coordinates, location, geolocation, or just double click on the map. Down here then we've got the drawing options. So starting from the very left button, the first three buttons there are point mode, line mode, and polygon mode, or area mode, regions, whatever you might want to call them. So clicking those just toggles. So I'll just see there, I've toggled it to point mode, so all of the line segments between the pins have disappeared. I can put it back in line mode, that's the default. Or I can actually make it into a polygon, which will just close, it'll add a closing line between the first and the last points. Once I've done that as well, because I'm in polygon mode, it displays the area over the first pin, and then I can just click and drag to relocate that as I need it. The fourth button along, that is just basically recenters the screen over your pins. So if I just get rid of those, say for instance I've lost my bearings and I'm not sure where my pins are anymore, I can just click that fourth button in to recenter the map over my pins. So that one's nice and easy. The fifth button along is drawing options. So if I can get an angle on that you can see. So I've got three drawing options I can use. I can create a buffer. This is quite useful if you want to see what's within so many meters of your transect line or your centroid point. So what I'll do is this random shape I've just drawn on there, I'll just add a 250 meter buffer on there. And then hopefully what you can see now is around my original polygon I've got this 250 meter sort of buffer around it. And that's sort of context specific as well, so if I change that back to a polyline I end up with a sort of back to front C or polygon mode. So you get the idea there. I can turn the buffer off just by setting that back to 0 or deleting the value. Waypoints is the next drawing option that we've got. So for instance, say I've done my 1 kilometer route and I want to know what is the grid reference at 100 meter waypoints along that route, then I can just go to waypoints. This is all in meters. So I've added 100 meters there, and that is terrible, I'm sorry guys, but hopefully you'll see a series of little grey splodges along that route. Essentially they are my waypoints, so if I want the information about those I can just zoom in and click on them and I get the same info window as I would do clicking on a marker. So the ruler mode at the moment, it's counting and displaying the distance from the first point to the last point, so each point is sort of adding the meters on as you go along. If I wanted to know just the distance of each line segment individually, then that's where I would change that from total meters to section meters. So now it's just showing me the distance for a section. That's quite useful if you're trying to make sure that your sections line up to 100 meters, 200 meters, and you don't want to use the waypoint. You can just drag the markers around then until you get the desired distance. So it's a bit like a ruler tool. And then the last button, which is the simplest of them all, is just the delete all points. You click that and all of your points disappear, and it's a little picture of a bin. I'll just put some points back on just for the next bit. So then we've got the map controls on the right hand side. We've got zoom in and zoom out buttons, but most people just sort of pinch and zoom, or if you're on a mouse, use your roller wheel in the middle. You can change the base layer, aerial photography, or Google's terrain mode. There is an intersection tool. I will just squash the mozzie. The fourth icon up is an intersection tool. So what this is for is if you've got a list of grid references or locations and what you need is to convert them en masse. So say for instance you've got a spreadsheet with latitude and longitudes or eastings and northings or grid references, and you want to choose between one or the other, or perhaps you've got a lot of accurate grid references and you would like to dumb them down to 1 kilometre or 2 kilometre for analysing data at summary. Or the other options in here are it will take a grid reference and it will tell you which sites of biological importance that it touches, which districts it's in, so it only covers the Greater Manchester districts, or the Vice Counties. But essentially what you do is there are a few sections to this form. So at the top there's a text box. You just copy and paste your list of coordinates, whatever they are in. Eastings and northings, just separate them with a comma, and latitude and longitude likewise. Grid references can go in, it doesn't matter if you put spaces in or not. As long as each one is on its own row, it'll just run through it. So you paste all that in the top box, you just tick which fields you want to output. So for instance I could, output the precision, output the 1k square, output the central easting and northing, or the southwest easting and northing, which sites it intersects in Vice Counties, whatever you need for your situation. You click on the go button and then it will just dump the results out in that box at the bottom, and the last button there is copy output. You can copy that and then paste it into Excel or whatever spreadsheet application you're using. I think we've got a scrambler on the way along here. The second to last button I'll show you is the share button. So once you've drawn your map and you've set your buffer, set your drawing mode, your waypoints, your ruler mode, you can send somebody a link which will allow them to see the same map that you've generated, or you can send it to yourself so you can come back to this map at a later stage. That's what that fifth icon up is the share button. So you just click on that. You get a box up here which has got a web address in it, so it's gemwildlife/MapApp, and then you'll see in there it's got all of your drawing options. So I encourage you to play around with that. There's, it's a good reason, it's all human readable. Play around with it, you can change your settings, you can draw your own custom paths in. You just click on copy link, email that, and then the person that clicks on it would get the same map back. Okay, last location change now because it is getting rather dark, but yeah, it's a nice place to do this. Okay, so I'm going to find somewhere to fix you, probably in that tree. So I do apologise, you're going to be looking at that pylon. We'll go through logging in, requesting a survey square if I can get up, creating a survey form, filling it in, submitting it, and that's the whole system. Here we go. To create a user account, it's this button on the top right hand side. So you do that, little panel comes out there in dark green. Click on the register button, fill in your details, and then click submit. The site will email you a terms of use and privacy policy, and you have to click on the link to say you've accepted them to enable your account. Once you've done that, don't fall, come back then and just put your user details into that top box and log in. So once you've logged in, nothing really changes. The only difference is at the top here you have now got access to user controls. The My Account button, this is very basic. It just allows you to, if you spelt your name wrong, or if you change your name, or if you want to change your email address, you can just update your details in there. The other thing you can do is reset your password. The second button is My Surveys. So once you've taken on a survey square, in here you will see all of your allocations listed. So for instance, can you see on there, yes, we've got at the top. This user I'm logged in now is farmland breeding birds, plants, willow tit. And then if I want to sort of see, okay, the plants allocation, I click on that and it'll scroll me down and show me a little map of the area, which isn't showing up so well here. We'll come back to that in a moment, because that's also where you create your survey forms. You've got My Records, which this is a single view of all of your records across the portal. And what you can do is copy to clipboard and paste into Excel. Next, survey squares. You can select a survey type, so I'll select water voles, and then it displays on there. Is that going to come up now? Yeah, just about. So it's got a map. The green blobs are available survey squares, and the orange blobs are allocated. And if I've got any allocated to me as a user, then they appear in purple. Any green squares, I can click on those. And I can click request this square. That fires an email through to us at the record centre. We can review requests and enable it. And then once you log in and go to My Surveys, your allocation will appear there for you. We'll have a look at the plants form. So I'm going to click on plants, and then it lists all of my allocations. I've only got one in this case, so I can click on that allocation. I'm going to put some video alongside this so you can see this a little bit better. And then down at the bottom I've got the option to create a survey form. So select which template I want. So I'll choose the plants plot form, survey date visit. I'll just put T for today, and I can click create form. And what it's done then is it's created a new survey form for me and taken me to it. So hopefully you can start to see that there, and that ties up with the form that you use in the field. So survey header detail, you see again the MapApp's in there. So this time that is for drawing the plot area. It's a 5 by 5 metre square, so on and so forth. And then I can add records down at the bottom. And then once I've finished the form, I can click finalise survey. And then that sends it off to us to include in any analysis we're doing. At any time you can return to these forms, whether they're submitted or not. You just log in, go to My Surveys, and just navigate through that chain again. So you select your survey type, select your allocation, and then you can, once you've created some forms, you get hyperlinks there so that you can go back into the form that you've just done. Just two more things about the website before I pack up and go away. So from the home page, if you want to get any of the survey methodologies or the survey forms, and to get yourself accustomed before you book onto the training, you've got the carbon landscape citizen science tile, which is the little kingfisher. I'm sure it's not quite coming through that. And here, all of these different tiles. Try and get an angle on that for you. There you go. Yeah, all of these different tiles are the methodologies. So for instance, if I want the water vole survey form and the water vole handbook, I can just click on the links there and they'll download. The last thing worth noting is if you've got an ad hoc record that you just want to put in, and you want it to be included in your records, so you can come back to it and it's associated with your account, you can use the submit your observations form. So back on the home page, this little tile here with the back of the lady's head, click on there, and this is simple record form. Because you're logged in, it puts your name in automatically. Again, you've got an integrated MapApp which puts a pin on, so the drawing tools are disabled, it's just a single pin. But you put all of your details in, click submit record, and in it goes. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. There is still plenty more for us to do on this. So year 2 is going to focus a lot more on development of analysis tools. So the My Records area that you just saw will be filled with lots more stuff. We're also going to put the training events on there, so you'll be able to log in and request a place on the training event, and you'll have a My Events or My Training area where you can sort of review courses that you've attended, print off certificates, that kind of thing. And of course we've got the rest of the survey methodologies and survey forms to develop. yeah, so thank you very much. If you've got any questions, as always, give us a call, 0161 342 3123, or email us at info@gmwildlife.org.uk. Goodbye.